What would you do if you knew your child was destined to overthrow you? In the depths of Greek mythology, this question tormented one of the most powerful beings ever to rule the cosmos, Cronus, the Titan king. His answer to this dilemma would shape the fate of gods and mortals alike, setting in motion a cycle of violence and retribution that would echo through eternity. Long before the Olympian gods held sway over the world, in an age when the very elements of creation were still young, Cronus was born. He emerged into a universe already fraught with conflict, the youngest son of Uranus, the vast and tyrannical sky, and Gaia, the nurturing earth. From the moment of his birth, Cronus was marked for greatness. He possessed a keen intellect and an unquenchable ambition that set him apart from his siblings. But even as a young Titan, Cronus witnessed the cruelty of power firsthand. Uranus, fearful of his own children's potential, had imprisoned Cronus's brothers, the monstrous Cyclopes with their single eyes and the hundred-handed Hecatoncheires, deep within the bowels of the earth. Their agonized cries reverberated through Gaia's body, causing her unceasing pain. As Cronus grew, so did his resentment towards his father. He saw in Uranus not a figure to be revered, but a tyrant to be overthrown. Gaia, unable to bear the suffering of her imprisoned children any longer, devised a plan for revenge. With grim determination, she crafted a great sickle of adamant, the hardest substance known in creation. Its curved blade gleamed with deadly purpose. With the weapon forged, Gaia gathered her Titan children and posed a fateful question. Who among you will strike against your father and free your brothers? Most of the Titans recoiled in fear. The thought of raising a hand against Uranus, the all-encompassing sky, was too terrible to contemplate. But Cronus, young and bold, saw opportunity where others saw only danger. "I will do it, mother," he declared, grasping the sickle. His eyes burned with a mixture of determination and something darker, a hunger for power that would come to define his rule. That night, as Uranus descended to lay with Gaia, Cronus lay in wait. When the moment was right, he struck with swift and terrible purpose. The adamant blade sliced through divine flesh, and Uranus's anguished screams echoed across the cosmos. Castrated and defeated, Uranus retreated to the farthest reaches of the universe. But before he vanished, he leveled a curse at his usurper son. "Beware, Cronus, for as you have overthrown me, so too shall you be overthrown by your own child." These words would haunt Cronus for the rest of his days, shaping every decision and ultimately sealing his fate. As Uranus's blood fell upon the earth, new life sprang forth. From the crimson drops arose the Furies, terrifying goddesses of vengeance, the giants, beings of incredible strength, and the Meliae, the ash tree nymphs. And from the severed flesh cast into the sea, foam arose, giving birth to Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty. With Uranus cast down, Cronus assumed the throne of the cosmos. He freed his Titan siblings, and together they ushered in a new era, the fabled Golden Age. Cronus took his sister Rhea as his wife, and together they ruled over a world of peace and abundance. Under Cronus's reign, the earth flourished as never before. Mortals lived in harmony with nature, unburdened by toil or the ravages of time. The seasons followed one another in perfect order, and the land yielded its fruits without the need for labor. It seemed that Cronus had created a perfect world, a testament to his power and wisdom. He was no longer simply Cronus the Titan, but Cronus the King, ruler of all creation. Yet, even as he basked in the glory of his achievements, a shadow loomed over Cronus. As Rhea's belly swelled with their first child, Cronus found himself torn between joy and terror. The impending birth should have been a moment of celebration, the continuation of his divine lineage. Instead, it became the catalyst for an act of unspeakable horror. When Rhea presented him with their newborn daughter, Hestia, Cronus made a decision that would forever mark him as a monster. Taking the infant in his arms, he opened his great maw and swallowed Hestia whole. Rhea's screams of anguish fell on deaf ears as Cronus justified his horrific act. "It is necessary," he told himself, his voice trembling with a mixture of regret and determination. "To preserve our reign, To maintain the order I have created, sacrifices must be made. But one child devoured was not enough to assuage Cronus's paranoia. As Rhea gave birth to their other children, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon, Cronus consumed them all, one by one. With each divine child he swallowed, Cronus grew more powerful, but also more paranoid. The once bold young Titan who had struck down Uranus had become a tyrant himself, enslaved by his own fear of the future. The Golden Age, for all its outward perfection, was built on a foundation of unimaginable cruelty. While mortals lived in blissful ignorance, the halls of the gods echoed with Rhea's sobs and the muffled cries of her imprisoned children. As Rhea found herself with child for the 6th time, she could bear the loss no longer. Desperate to save at least one of her offspring, she turned to Gaia for help. The Earth Mother, who had once counseled Cronus in rebellion, now plotted against him to save her grandchild. Together, Rhea and Gaia devised a plan both simple and audacious. When the time came, Rhea secretly gave birth to Zeus on the island of Crete, far from Cronus's watchful eyes. In place of the newborn, she presented her husband with a stone wrapped in swaddling clothes. Blinded by his paranoia, and perhaps dulled by the power he had consumed, Cronus swallowed the stone without question. As it settled in his divine stomach alongside his children, Cronus believed he had once again thwarted fate. Little did he know that on Crete, Zeus was being raised in secret. The infant god was nursed by the goat Amalthea, whose milk gave him strength, and protected by the Curetes, warrior dancers whose loud clanging of spears and shields masked the cries of the growing god. As Zeus matured, so did his power and his resolve. The young god learned of his heritage, of the father who had swallowed his siblings, and of the throne that was his birthright. With each passing day, Cronus's prophesied downfall drew nearer. Years passed, and Cronus ruled unchallenged, believing he had secured his throne for eternity. The Golden Age continued, but it had lost its luster for the Titan King. Cronus had become a prisoner of his own power. Forever watching the shadows for signs of the child he believed he had prevented from existing. But fate, it seemed, would not be denied. Zeus, now grown to full godhood, returned to confront his father. Armed with his own cunning and the blessings of Gaia, Zeus infiltrated Cronus's court disguised as a cupbearer. With the help of Metis, goddess of wisdom, Zeus prepared a special draft for Cronus. The potion, disguised as a divine nectar, was designed to force Cronus to disgorge all that he had swallowed. Cronus, ever fearful of poison, initially hesitated. But Zeus, in his disguise, played upon the Titan's vanity. Surely, he cajoled, the king of the cosmos has nothing to fear from a mere drink. Pride won out over caution, and Cronus took the cup. As the potion took effect, the Titan King was gripped by violent spasms. In a scene of grotesque cosmic rebirth, Cronus began to vomit forth all that he had swallowed. First came the stone, followed by Cronus's children, now fully grown gods, their divine power undiminished by their imprisonment. Poseidon, Hades, Hera, Demeter, and Hestia emerged, burning with the desire for vengeance. Cronus found himself face to face with the very fate he had tried so desperately to avoid. His children, led by Zeus, declared war against him and the other Titans. The battle that ensued, known as the Titanomachy, would shake the very foundations of the world. For 10 long years, the war between the Olympians and the Titans raged across the face of creation. Mountains were toppled, seas boiled, and the very stars trembled in the heavens. Cronus, once thought invincible, found himself beset on all sides. The Olympians, though younger, proved to be formidable foes. They were armed with weapons of immense power, forged by the grateful Cyclopes, whom Zeus had freed from their underground prison. Zeus wielded thunderbolts that could shatter mountains, Poseidon a trident that could stir the seas into fury, and Hades a helm that rendered him invisible. The tides of battle ebbed and flowed. At times it seemed that Cronus and his Titan allies might prevail through sheer strength and experience. But the Olympians had youth and righteous anger on their side, and their power grew with each victory. In a final cataclysmic battle, Cronus faced Zeus atop Mount Olympus. The sky crackled with lightning, and the earth trembled beneath their feet. Cronus fought with all the skill and power that had made him king, but he was no match for the combined might of his children. With a final thunderous blow, Zeus struck down his father. Cronus, the once mighty king of the Titans, fell from the heights of Olympus. His reign ended just as he had ended his own father's. If you've enjoyed this dive into the mythical world of Cronus and the Titans, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We have many more fascinating tales from Greek mythology and other ancient cultures coming your way.